right. Anthony Cosenza here from the Caesar Sportsbook with one of the most iconic names, faces, voices, especially this time of year, Mr. Trey. Wingo. Trey, how are you?
I'm really good. Thanks for that introduction. I don't know if any of that's true, but I appreciate it.
Oh, well, I think it's true. I think it's true. I know it's true. But before we kind of get into some betting things with the draft, and maybe my Cincinnati Bengals in the AFC North. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing today. Here, you're the CEO of Trends here with the Caesar Sportsbook.
Yeah, the official title is Chief Trends Officer and Brand Ambassador.
Okay.
Which is a fancy way of saying I'm going to talk about sports. Is what it is. Basically doing a lot of stuff that I did all the years at ESPN, just doing it at a different place with a lot of familiar faces. Kenny May and I are working together, and it's really been great. So we're really looking forward to a long relationship.
Well, you set us up nicely in the sportsbook cave here. Yeah, nice leather chairs, big screens. You were on the big screen there.
I apologize.
No, that's all right. That's all right. Tell us a little bit about some of the things you're seeing going into the draft trends. Who's, a lot of people had Aiden Hutchinson going number one overall. That may be in flux. If you ask some people, I don't know, what are the lines saying here at Caesars with number one overall?
Well, that line has changed at Caesars. It was Aiden Hutchinson, and now it's Trayvon Walker as the betting favorite. Although, who knows? I mean, this is such a weird draft on so many levels. It's only going to be the second draft in the last 8 years where a quarterback doesn't go number one overall. It's only going to be the sixth time since 2001 a quarterback doesn't go number one overall. And we don't know who the first pick is. Like, there are very few drafts the day before the draft you do not know who the number one overall pick is going to be. There's really a great deal of uncertainty. And I think, thoughts and prayers to all the mock drafters. It's going to be a carnage. It's going to be a bloodbath. They're going to get 3 right. I mean, it's crazy. Right now, as we speak, we have 8 teams with multiple first-round picks. That's never happened before. The most we've ever had actually used is 6, several times. We right now have 8 teams that don't have a first-round pick. That has never happened before as well. So this draft is really weird on a bunch of different levels because there's no great quarterback. So if you have those multiple picks, who are you going up to get, and does someone really want to do that, or does everyone want to sort of trade back because it's a deep draft?
Right.
Because we've had 2 years of COVID football in college, so we had a lot of 5th and 6th year seniors. So it's a really deep draft. It's just not a top pick draft.
So what is there an over and under set in terms of you talk about quarterbacks here? Is there an over and under set?
3 in the first round.
Okay, and where do you see that going?
Well, it's interesting because a few days ago the over/under for Malik Willis was 9.5, where he 9 or 10, and then Kenny Pickett was 10.5, and Desmond Ridder from Cincinnati was 30.5. Well, over the last 2 days that shifted. Malik Willis is now 12.5. Kenny Pickett is now 14.5, and Ridder still stays at 30.5, which tells you they're getting the sense that there's a lot less action on those quarterbacks going early. We're going to see a run on offensive linemen, edge rushers, and wide receivers early in this draft. Those are the difference makers in this draft.
Where are you seeing a run, you think, at quarterback later in the first round?
Derek Stingley is fascinating. The kid out of LSU. He lit it up his freshman year on that championship team. He was phenomenal. And then he had some injuries, and LSU wasn't as good, and he didn't play as well. So he literally could go 3 overall. It's possible he could go 3 to the Texans. Lovie Smith, we're hearing, loves him. But you're basing it on film from 2 years ago. And how healthy has he been, and how concerned are you, especially with a foot injury? Right. That's the basis of everything you do. How concerned are you that thing that's been bothering him for 2 years is going to keep bothering him? He has the best traits and skills of all the quarterbacks. With all apologies to Sauce Gardner. I understand. By the way, the full nickname for Sauce Gardner is A1 Sauce Sweet Feet Gardner.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he got it when he was 6 years old by his AAU coach. I mean, that's a classic.
That's yeah.
It's hard to roll off the tongue, so Sauce is probably better. But A1 Sauce Sweet Feet Gardner, that's Hall of Fame stuff.
Yeah, and then there's another player, Smoke, in the draft.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's a guy from UNLV. They call him the Chuck Wagon. He's a running back. There you go.
There you
so
go.
We got Smoke, Chuck Wagon, and Sauce. We're good.
I like it. Got the bases covered. Kind of transitioning in terms of that talk out of the draft. A lot of different things have transpired in free agency in terms of
craziest offseason ever.
I would agree with you. So what are some of the biggest moves in terms of lines or over-unders with certain teams, whether it's Russell Wilson going to Denver or what, a lot of different moves. What do you see in there on the line?
Well, the AFC West is the only division where every team's win total is 8.5. The over-under is 8.5, and that's because Russell Wilson went there, and the Chargers went and got corner J.C. Jackson, the most interceptions in the league since 2019, and Khalil Mack to go opposite of Joey Bosa, and then you have the Raiders trading for T. Adams and also getting Jalen Jones. But all of this is built on one thing that the Bengals figured out how to do: beat Patrick Mahomes. Since he became the starting quarterback for the Chiefs, nobody in the NFL, in the history of the NFL, has thrown for more touchdown passes, more passing yards in his first 4 seasons as a starter. The Chiefs have won the division 6 straight years, 2 before Patrick got there, and the last 4 with Patrick and hosted the AFC Championship 4 straight years. The AFC West is tired of losing to the Chiefs, so all of this movement really has been about trying to dethrone Kansas City. Yet at Caesars Sportsbook, they still have the highest win total in that division at 10.5, because until you show us you can beat them, we don't believe it.
So I'm a bit of a dope. Last year, I did not bet on the Cincinnati Bengals. I usually make
but I mean, like that wasn't a terrible idea at the time. I love Zach and I love Joe, but no one was saying in September, Bengal fever, Super Bowl. It just happened.
Right. Looking in your crystal ball here, do you see a team like the Bengals this year in terms of someone that they don't really have high expectations from the betting lines or just the pundits in general, but they may surprise some folks and either make it to the Super Bowl or go far into the playoffs and win people some money?
Miami's interesting, right? They trade for Tyreek Hill. They already had Jalen Waddle, so arguably they have the 2 fastest wide receivers. They have Mike Gesicki at tight end, although he's really a big slot receiver, not really a tight end. They have Raheem Mostert, who came over, that's going to run the offense that Mike McDaniel is now the head coach of Miami, the way he ran it when he was the OC under Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco. But it's all on Tua Tagovailoa. Like, I think there's more pressure on Tua Tagovailoa this year than any player in football. He has no more excuses. We gave you all these things. We got Teron Armstead from the Saints to help protect you. Defense wasn't bad last year, so it's on you. If he's good, Miami could be really interesting. But the AFC is just a murderer's row. I mean, it is. You've got Cincinnati, you've got Kansas City, you've got Buffalo. You've got so many good teams, and I mean top-tier teams in the AFC. The AFC is loaded. The NFC has won the last 2 Super Bowls, I think in a large part because the AFC beats the crap out of us. They really, really do.
Yeah. My guy, Kevin here, holding the video here, he's a Bills guy. How do you see things shaking out with them in this packed AFC? I mean, like you said, the Bengals are now there. You've got Miami potentially on the rise, and then, of course, the Chiefs and the rest of the AFC West. I mean,
to quote Josh Allen's tweet after that loss, after the coin flip loss in the AFC Championship, pain. Look, Buffalo they got to prove they can beat them, right? Until Buffalo shows me they can beat the Chiefs, and it's going to be a different Chiefs team this year without Tyreek Hill, but I think people are not understanding how good the Chiefs receiving corps still is. I mean, Marquez Valdes-Scantling is fast and he's bigger. Mecole Hardman is still there. He's a good receiver. They drafted him in 2019 because they thought they might lose Tyreek to some off-field stuff. And now he has a chance to shine. They still have Travis Kelce. They signed Juju Smith-Schuster. They're going to probably get a wide receiver in the second round, if not the first round of this draft. The Chiefs aren't going anywhere. So it's up to Buffalo to find a way to freaking hammer it home. I mean, if you squib the kick, you probably win that playoff game. I know, this is killing you, and I'm sorry.
His hands are shaking now.
But, they have 11 seconds or 10 seconds if they kick it. So they got to beat them. Buffalo should be the team to beat. But until I see them take them out in the playoffs, I'm not going to believe it.
We know teams have a tough time getting back to the Super Bowl after losing it. Just quickly, I mean, what are your thoughts on the Bengals this coming season? They're a young team, young at critical spots, so you would think they're still ascending potentially, but that Super Bowl hangover tends to be a real thing.
It is, but they did a great job this offseason. They had one glaring weakness, and that was the offensive line. And they have shored that up with fighters. La'el Collins, Karras comes over. These guys are not just good, they're mean. And that's what you want. They didn't have enough nasty in that Super Bowl, and that's why Aaron Donald was able to end the game the way he ended the game. You can make a very compelling argument that the best core of young talent in the NFL is in Cincinnati. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Joe Mixon. I'm not sure right now as we speak there's a better core of offensive skill position players than those guys. All that being said, it was the flukiest Super Bowl run I've ever seen. And I don't mean that to take anything away from it. But if you go back in every playoff game, the Raiders were down close late, and they didn't finish it. Ryan Tannehill doesn't throw that interception. That game goes down to the wire, and it's a 52-yarder for the rookie kicker. And then you get to the Super Bowl, and the AFC Championship. The Chiefs were first and goal on the 5-yard line, and they found a way to botch that and only kicked a field goal to send it in overtime. And then, of course, down the stretch of the Super Bowl, they had the lead, and there were some questionable penalties. I get it, but that should have been an offensive pass interference on the T. Higgins touchdown. Let's be honest about that. I mean, it was a really weird run. They had the talent. I just don't know if you can count on those many things going right.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, 2 years ago, the NFL draft was set to be in Las Vegas. We know a couple of things happened to cause that to not be the case, but here it is now at Caesars. Caesars is hosting it.
Yep.
We are here at Caesars Sportsbook. What does it mean, just the draft in Vegas and Caesars, you being a part of Caesars and the hotel hosting it?
Yeah, 53 days before the draft in 2020, we had it all set up. It was going to be here, and we had to shut it down. And the behind-the-scenes crew did an amazing job to make that draft virtual a reality. It was one of the highlights of my career. But the NFL draft is the ultimate crapshoot. Like, nobody knows what it is. So of course it should be there. Like, I would make the argument it should be in Vegas every year. We're gonna have, I think, close to 750,000 people in town. We had 650,000 in Nashville in 2019. And in Cleveland last year the weather wasn't great. The crowds were okay. It's warm, it's sunny, it's Vegas, it's the ultimate reality television show. Like, the U.S. Open now has anchor courses, Pinehurst and Pebble Beach, and I think Oakmont is one. We should make Vegas an anchor host for the NFL. Like every 5 years, we're going back to Vegas. I would love that idea. Let's make this happen.
Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Trey Wingo, Caesars Sportsbook. There's an app, correct? Caesars Sportsbook app.
Absolutely.
And what else? Anything else we should know about going on at the Sportsbook besides this cool corner that we're hanging out in here?
Listen, if you can't get in to see the draft outside, this Sportsbook here is the best place to see it. Here's what I predict. I have no idea what's going to happen, and that's what makes the draft amazing.
There you go. Trey Wingo,
You got it,
Caesars Sportsbook. Thanks for your time. Thanks for answering some questions and hanging out with us.
You got it, man. Pain.